The 2026 World Cup has brought the world's eyes to Kansas City. People from many nations fill our streets, reminding us that the sport has a remarkable ability to unite strangers. Watching the celebrations this week on the plaza, I was reminded of one of soccer's most beloved traditions. Before every home match at Liverpool's Anfield Stadium during the Premier League season, tens of thousands of supporters stand shoulder to shoulder and sing a song made famous by that other band from Liverpool, Gerry and the Pacemakers. When you walk through a storm, hold your head up high. At the end of the storm, there's a golden sky. Then comes the unforgettable refrain, walk on with hope in your heart, and you'll never walk alone. It's also the hope that life's greatest challenges are not faced in isolation. As we turn to this week's Torah portion, we discover that this same truth has been part of the Jewish tradition all along. At the beginning of the portion, God doesn't send one person into the unknown, but anashim, people, because none of us is meant to carry the burdens of life ourselves. The Torah introduces the portion with the word shlach lecha anashim, send for yourself people. It could have described the mission in the singular person. Instead, it deliberately uses the plural anashim, reminding us that the most important tasks in life cannot be undertaken alone. Growth is never a solitary achievement. We all need teachers, friends, and family who can strengthen us when our own ability fails us. One person may see obstacles while another sees possibilities. One may lose hope while another remembers God's promise. Judaism reminds us that none of us is meant to carry life's burdens alone. We find strength not because we are self-sufficient, but because we're willing to lean on one another and allow others to carry us when we cannot walk on our own. If this verse caught my attention, I figured that it also caught the attention of classical rabbis before me. So I hit the bookshelves. I'm going to talk a little bit about my process for these sermons in this sermon. The first try is always the bookshelves. Sometimes I find teaching by the classical rabbis, sometimes I don't. This time I did. My recent purchase of a Torah commentary by the Ramban reinforced the idea that we can't accomplish anything alone. Ramban explains that these anashim, these people, were the distinguished leaders of their tribes, suggesting that even Moses did not rely on a single exceptional individual, but needed the perspective of many. For Ramban, finding a partner in crime, so to speak, is not the full matter at hand. No one individual completes us. It takes a group of people to bring out the best in us. We find the same thing in other cultures as well. The saying, "it takes a village to raise a child," has long been associated with African wisdom traditions, expressing the belief that no child can flourish through the efforts of parents alone. A healthy life requires the care and guidance of an entire community. Teachers, elders, neighbors, friends, and extended family all share responsibility for shaping the next generation. The proverb entered popular American culture through Hillary Rodham Clinton's 1996 book, It Takes a Village, in which she argued that raising children and building healthy communities are collective responsibilities rather than purely private ones. Whether one agrees with her political conclusions or affinities or not, the title captured a universal truth. Human beings are not meant to struggle in isolation. We become our fullest selves through the support of others. A lesson that resonates deeply with the Torah's vision of a covenantal people who journey forward together. Right now I have a book on my desk, this one that was right there in front of me, that collects some of the Noam Elimelech's teachings. Noam Elimelech teaches that every person possesses unique spiritual gifts, and those gifts reach their fullest expression only when joined with those of others. No one carries the entire light of holiness by themselves. And this reminded me of a close friend of mine Between Park City and Palo Alto, I have hung out with more than one entrepreneur. One friend was what one calls a serial entrepreneur. Even though he had made plenty of money, he couldn't stop creating businesses. That word, creating, is the key one. He's great at coming up with the idea. He's also a great salesman. The problem is that he's terrible with money. Not exactly positive as you're building a business. Now, fortunately, his romantic partner was fabulous at this. It wasn't just that she could put together a spreadsheet. She knew when and where to invest and allocate money as a business grew. Probably most importantly, she knew when to sell the business. Their work as a team had brought them great success. On their own, one would have been a dreamer and the other would have been working in an office. The rabbis found this idea in the quintessential rabbinic activity, learning Torah. One of the first sections of the Talmud I read was in the tractate Ta'anit, which contains many moral teachings. In this section we read either companionship or death, a strong statement. Torah cannot be mastered in isolation by the rabbinic understanding. A study partner asks different questions, notices what we have overlooked, and sharpens our thinking. The sages even taught I learned much from my teachers, more from my colleagues, and from my students more than all of them. Spiritual growth is a shared endeavor. Each person sees a different facet of Torah and reveals something that no one else could have uncovered alone. The principle that guides our Torah study every Saturday morning, I love that. Each person has their role. And as the class develops, I can almost guess what the next person's going to say, which is a great thing, not a bad thing at all. I'm sure at this point you even know what my cliched roles are as well. So we began this evening with a single word from this week's Torah portion, anashim. God could have spoken in the singular, but instead chose the plural. With this one word, the Torah teaches us about what it means to be human. We're not designed to face life's challenges by ourselves. We become stronger when we borrow another person's courage. We become wiser when we listen to another person's perspective. We become self-assured when someone walks beside us through our doubts. Perhaps that's why Liverpool's anthem has become so beloved by their fans. Together they sing a song that expresses a universal longing. Walk on with the hope in your heart, and you'll never walk alone. It's not just about soccer, it's about being human. Every one of us needs people who remind us to keep going when we've lost our way. As the world gathers here in Kansas City over the next weeks, may we remember the wisdom contained both in that famous song and in one word of Torah, anashim. None of us was meant to journey alone. The greatest gift we can offer another person is not advice or solutions. Sometimes it is simply listening, offering an open heart, and the assurance that whatever lies ahead, they will not have to walk alone. Shabbat Shalom.